学到这里做到了，专注把这个当那个手机，最近这边做那这边做了，本就上去做过，每个就是很多张，然后那些你得点发的，上这些就没结果，因为昨天刚到现在就把说，我说让他们到了康尼呀，大呀。
Please adjust your sitting posture according to the 7 meditative postures of Arochana. And think, all sentient beings have been my mothers. All sentient beings have been my mothers, not just once, but for numberless times. All sentient beings are as kind as my mother in this life. Even though all kind mother sentient beings want happiness and do not want even a small suffering, used to mistakenly engage with the objects of adoptions and abandonment, they do not experience any happiness but suffering. In our mind, sincerely generate loving kindness towards all kind mother sentient beings by thinking, how nice it would be if all kind mother sentient beings were to have excellent happiness and the causes of excellent happiness that are virtues. May they have excellent happiness and its causes. Cause them to have excellent happiness and its causes. Lama Deity, please bless me to be able to do so. Next, we generate compassion towards all suffering mother sentient beings by thinking, how nice it would be if the bodies of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from the entire class discordant with accomplishing virtue, such as pain, sickness, and harm. May their bodies be free from the discordant class. I will free their bodies from the discordant class. Lama Deity, please bless me to be able to do so. How nice it would be if the minds of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from the entire class discordant with accomplishing virtue, such as the sufferings of fear, and all coarse and subtle negative discursive thoughts. May their minds be free from the discordant class. I'll free their minds from the discordant class. Lama deity, please bless me to be able to do so. How nice it would be if the speech of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from the entire class discordant with accomplishing virtue, such as lying and all coarse and subtle negative speech. May their speech be free from the discordant class. Or free their speech from the discordant class. Lama deity, please bless me to be able to do so. How nice it would be if the three doors of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from the entire class discordant with accomplishing virtue. May their three doors be free from the discordant class. I will free their three doors from the discordant class. Lama deity, please bless me to be able to do so. How nice it would be if all sentient beings were free from all suffering and its causes. They are non-virtues. May they be free. May they be free from all suffering and its causes. Our freedom from all suffering and its causes. Lama deity, please bless me to be able to do so. Next, we generate bodhicitta. First, we ask ourselves, who should take the responsibility to free all mother sentient beings from the sufferings of samsara and lower realms. I should take the responsibility to free all mother sentient beings from the sufferings of samsara and lower realms. Even though I should take the responsibility, but for now, I do not have the ability to place them in the state of perfect complete enlightenment. Who then has such ability? Only those who have achieved the perfect complete enlightenment have the abilities to do so. Therefore, for the sake of all mother sentient beings, by all means, I will achieve the precious state of enlightenment.
이제 토지지대 산지 공부도 샤 maybe 세 고조 같은 여기가 되는 지금 그래서 민노가 지지 대단지로 이제 뭐 한번 그래서 지금 대단히 정치식 이거 다 이지고 된 도제가 미치고 되는 거 지도 주스 있었어 어디서 내가 지금 통제를 보세요
Next, we generate all-encompassing yoga mind, the aspiring conventional bodhicitta that thinks, for the sake of all mother sentient beings, I will achieve the state of enlightenment. These transform into a complete mundis at one's heart. And the ultimate bodhicitta, which is one's mind becoming one taste with emptiness. All phenomena lack inherent existence. These transform into a white five-pronged vajra on top of the mundis.
저기 좀 뭐지나 사람이 되는 지도 두고 다들 되는 지도 두나 다 개념 되는 거죠 그럼 이제 다 진지지 좀 제가 제가 밑에 무시 추서 내 맞이 받을 책이 되는지 다 보면 지도 무슨 어디서 가지고 뭐
Next, we meditate on emptiness for a short while. The self and the aggregates do not exist as inherently one. If they were inherently one, they would necessarily establish as partless one. If they were partless one, they are following thoughts. It would be pointless to assert a self. The self will become many. The self was subject to production and disintegration. Be unreasonable to remember past lives. Karma one has done would go wasted. One would meet with karma one has not done. Therefore, the self and the aggregates do not exist as inherently one.
저기도 좀 되면 되기를 좀 기다 다들 그때는 뭐 그렇게 동안 어디서
Self and the aggregates also do not exist as inherently different. If they were inherently different, they would necessarily establish as unrelatedly other. Therefore, the self and the aggregates neither exist as inherently one nor inherently different, and thus are empty of inherent existence.
이제서 이것은 이제 미자와 그 사관의 신서 프로젝트 운영에 비슷하게 되지 무슨 그 너무 또스 그 집에 모스 이제 한 대사 모스 시바데 나 계속해서 좋아 이거 우리가 제가 티치도 아 내가 돈이 이제 돈세 야 지금 돈이 그까는 데서 그래서 제가이나 어디에 가서 계좌를 주시는 것이 있습니다.
As I always say, it is very important to conjoin the roots of virtue of our true doors with the practice of six perfections. Thus, to conjoin these roots of virtue with the practice of sixth perfection is as follows. The first one is generosity. The nature of generosity is a mind of giving. These 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on the Dharma is for the sake of attaining happiness and purifying the sufferings of all sentient beings. Next is morality. The nature of morality is a mind of abandonment. During these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on the Dharma, I will properly abandon my physical and verbal misdeeds without letting them manifest. If I engage in this manner with the manifestations of minds of abandonment, then these roots of virtue will be conjoined with the practice of morality. Next is patience. The nature of patience is an undisturbed mind. During these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on the Dharma, I will patiently accept any hardships and difficulties of my body and my mind. If I engage in this way, if I engage thinking strongly about this, then these roots of virtue will be conjoined with the practice of patience. Next is joyous effort. The nature of joyous effort is a mind enthusiastic for virtue. I will joyfully and enthusiastically engage in this virtuous activity of listening, contemplating, and meditating on the Dharma. If I engage in this manner, then these roots of virtue will be conjoined with the practice of joyous effort. Next is concentration. The nature of concentration is a mind that single-pointedly focuses on virtuous object. I will single-pointedly focus my mind on this virtuous activity of listening, contemplating, and meditating on the Dharma. If I engage in this manner, then these roots of virtue will be conjoined with the practice of concentration. The last one is wisdom. The nature of wisdom is a knower that thoroughly distinguishes phenomena. I will properly and unmistakenly understand the words and meanings of the Dharma that I listen to, contemplate and meditate on. If I engage in this manner, then these roots of virtue will be conjoined with the practice of wisdom. Set a good motivation. For the sake of all mother sentient beings, I will achieve the state of enlightenment. For this, I will listen to the holy Dharma and practice accordingly in order to benefit sentient beings.
Yeah. 我这很多的，你照顾有一个了，可能一块吃饱了，一块下巴可能我多少多少，对吧？对吧？这个菜，对吧？我这个菜，第一就是大菜，第一就是讲究，第一就是更小的钱的话，我就是不需要他们的话，那这里面是搞这个大菜是吧？
So we are at the second chapter. In the second chapter, there are four main divisions. The first one is offerings. So we have already covered that. And the second one is prostration or veneration. Today we are going to talk about this veneration or homage. And the third one is taking refuge. And the last one is confessing negativities.
到底我都觉得，他看到，他跟我在那看到，我给这个结果的那地方，你能打工，我看到我这个地方，是吧？这个学一点早的了，到年底要多弄，年底要多弄到这样的嘛，这样年底给到了，你就注意些，你去那个进度啊，
So under the outlines of veneration or homage, then there are two divisions. The first one is praise, express the praise, verbally express the praise. And the second one is physically bow down. So there are two divisions under the outlines of veneration or homage. The first one is verbally expressing the praise. And the second one is physically bow down. So under the first division, verbally expressing the praise, the relevant verse is verse 23. I eulogize the oceans of excellent qualities with oceans of branches of melodious praise. May these clouds of pleasant eulogy certainly arise always to them everywhere.
到这个我都这样的对的我，那当不管是这样的结果的，我的上去就古树突进原地，是吧？是突进原地，会原地，所谓的突进原地的话，两座的把杀去压起来，是吧？不是突进会原地，所谓的突进原地的两座的杀去压起来，理解实际的血光啊，这上去的情绪什么嘛，那是个话，这个上去情绪什么是话，不是突进的，是压起来的，大概对大概原地，上去的情绪什么对大概原地的话，还有个。对吧？这样一点，这样是吧？是这样去的以后啊，要做的这个都讲的对吧？理解对吧？对吧？
In relation to this verse 23, so here is to praise the qualities of Buddha. So the qualities of body, speech, and mind of Buddhas that is profound. There is profound and extensive like an ocean, and they are inexhaustible. So then, with oceans of branches of melodious praise, then we sing praises to the Buddha.
第二个这个就是说，这个两者的还有个家庭的理解吧，对，当然是第一件事看的一些我的，看的也可以这样，看的当然是样式的话，这样式的话，也让说你就是说的话，讲说能理解也是我忙不的，是吧？是吧？忙不的，第六呢，他可能忙不的就，不是你啊，这个就是你了，是吧？报道对吧？如果报道那个现在看到我这个直接报道那个有的话，那直接报道那个没得对吧？报道那个对吧？也是。
So melodious, the word melodious, So this refers to speech, and branches refers to its causes, refers to their causes or refer to its causes, and oceans refers to many. So it has the meaning of many. So we visualize that one body has numberless heads, and each head has numberless tongues and sing praises. Continue to offer melodious praise to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So even if later I do not even at a time when I do not sing melodious praise to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, may limitless clouds of pleasant praises, a pleasant eulogy arise every time, all the time, everywhere. So the verse that relates to verbally expressing praise is verse 23. So we have already covered that. The next one is physically bound down, and the relevant verse is verse 24. And under this outline, physically bowing down, and it has three divisions. The first one is three rules. The second one is a basis for generating bodhicitta. And the third one is prostrating to master, to abbot, to master, and so forth. So first, we're going to talk about prostrating to three jewels, paying homage to three jewels. Verse 24, with bodies as numerous as all the atoms within the field, I bow with my body to all Buddhas of the three times, the Dharma, and the Supreme Community. To the three jewels. So the three jewels are Buddha jewel, Dharma jewel, and Sangha jewel, or Supreme Community jewel. So these are the three jewels. So then, and three jewels of the three times. So to all Buddhas of the three times, right? So three times refer to the past, future, and in the present. So to all Buddhas that resided in the past, they will reside in the future. That resides in the present times. So the all Buddhas, then I emanate bodies as numerous as the atoms of the Buddha field, then I bow down, or I bow down and pay homage to the to Buddhas and to the Dharma jewel, the Dharma, the scriptural and realizational teachings, and also the supreme community, those higher bodhisattva, higher bodhisattvas.
我觉得，他在那方面是真的，这个都是确实的，是的，那等于是多多了现在，他的上级都是去过就努力工作是结束，是吧？他去工作，他去工作当地用这个去工作的啊，就是这个来往不是那么是讲说你那个的这个是吧？就是来往的，我去工作因为的那个人不对吧？我的是的效果是吧？那是这全部是在效果嘛，这工作面的话，我是知道我是知道我是我讲的我是比较接的去工作面的话，上级工作的话是这等到我是这这两天的话，那个上级工作上我是等到些地方都不对，我是能等到，是吧？能等到，能等到不对，那这个我们讲那个能等到，你为了接都把我的我去工作强，对不对？他肯定工作，这种事情我老师不对，那个工作是，他说你看就是打工，逻辑，对可能不是逻辑是吧？得强的，你个人自己这个，等到都是那么多工作上，我别的是吧？
So here is to pay homage to the three jewels. So in general, when we talk about Dharma jewel, then that also include, in general context, Dharma jewel refers to those scriptures, those Dharma texts and so forth. So we pay homage or we prostrate to Dharma scriptures or Dharma texts. So, and the actual Dharma jewel refers to a true path and true cessation. So actual Dharma jewel refers to a true path and true cessation. So the actual jewel to be generated in one's own continuum is the actual Dharma jewel, is the Dharma jewel. So that is the actual jewel to be generated in one's continuum, the Dharma jewel. So when we talk about Buddha jewel, the Buddha jewel like Buddha Shakyamuni, so Buddha Shakyamuni is a teacher of the path. And then the Sangha jewel or the supreme community jewel, then this Sangha jewel refers to those companions when we practice the path.
这个阶段我觉得，到场地的身体起了强壮，是吧？场地身体起了强壮，对了，就早啊，心里多，场地身体起呢，他确定了大家差是多。
Then the next outline is prostrating or paying homage to basis for generating bodhicitta. So in relation to this outline, there are the first two lines of verse 25. I pay homage to the basis of the minds of enlightenment to all supports of offering.
到场地身体起了个身体身体起了那个大超的，你得看到哇，一直要这个点呢，是吧？他点那个那这个这个那个一点呢，我比点呢是吧？我这个这个点呢，我点呢当，他身体健行往上，是吧？身体那个满足，人的身体那个健行的往上，是吧？这个这个必须呢，让他这个这个必须呢，知道我的身体的，他的这个是吧？这个这个必须，他让必须呢，这个身体健起来，是吧？健起往上。 那对了，这个嘛，就驱动很多人下去嘛，驱动嘛，这他就设计，那比践行的是，那驱动就是平时的说不起，我就是那下面对我说是吧？当时我的，我对讲究的突击是个杀手，我讲究突击杀手，我是接了很多企业，这个是接了资料，我都是接说，你这个突击杀手是，你刚才你切过去，是吧？那你切过去。 我知道看的，就是身体细，那细的时候嘛的，这个
讲身体为杀错了，
身体杀错，
糖
杀错的，那念是细活了，念是，他说上去骨头上，这上去骨头上， 怎么不同的长期的不仅的杀手，不当的杀手，那只是怎么下去的？
第三期故事说点个说点那么拉点对。
我这里那个长期做的不接受的杀手有了，不接受的杀手得受他，老百姓不反应有了，当时杀手有了，我这里说了，我说过就是怎么下去是吧？
不当下的杀手，
不当出杀，
过通上，
把结果了，就是可。
So the basis of bodhicitta are those forces to generate. Yeah. So the basis for bodhicitta are those causes for generating that mind, such as Mahayana skits of teachings, and those persons who act as a condition for generating that mind. So persons who act as a condition for generating that mind can be those Mahayana spiritual friends, and also Dharma friends. So the Dharma friends who help each other. So those are included within the person who act as a condition for generating that mind. And places where bodhicitta was generated, like for example those holy places, or those places where past saint generated bodhicitta, and together with those places where holy Bodhi such as Buddha Shakyamuni, for example. So those places where holy Bodhi were born.
那刚才上地区就是那个老这个你蒙古有了，那上地区就是唐高了怎么确定？那就是什么看的是定去超过的是，现在那个就是刚才的话。
Besides that, even Buddhas and also Buddha statue, Buddha tanka or image, and also stupa, and those basis for generating bodhicitta, I pay homage.
我是觉得，送到我的电脑上，全部的老百姓来讲上，是吧？全部的老百姓讲上的，全部百姓那边的需求来讲这模式，这个你懂吧？
The next outline is paying homage to abbots, master, and so forth. The relevant relevant 2 lines of verse 25. To all abbots and masters, and to all the holders of supreme conduct.
那说他就说我是做不起的，天空问题，他说他懂到了什么？这我是给你的懂到，给你的懂到，你自己懂到了什么？就给你听过什么？什么给你听过什么的？我并且的朋友懂到听到什么宝贝，懂到这个宝贝的听过，也听到了不清的，我当然他把听到那个，所以必须做到那个，但是这个人家，你这个人家，你就行了。
我哋偷嘅諗比比都出錯。
我特别让人比比去错，
不行不行
讲就行吧。对，你往苦的境界，行了对，不管那什么，错了可能，我没错对的话，他听不懂，我本来我就理解到人家自由的话，我把你懂了，你懂了什么，你懂了能力，听过，我被有的话，对人家有的，是吧？ 我是说他听过，中文东西都是有的，这个是听过的，可能这个不错的。听过老百姓的嘛，当然东方人那些听过，对，是吧？东方人的嘛，讲历史的，我能听到，你那的，ada说他东方人听ada，我东方人听ada，ada我跟着东方人听ada，ada你东方人听ada，这都是从我看到的，东方人也听过的，我们也是都是听过。
In relation to these 2 lines, to all abbots and masters. So abbots and masters are those who bestow vows those vows such as individual liberation vows, refuge vow, lay vows, novice vows, bodhisattva vows, and tantric vows. So those abbots and master who bestow vows such as those vows that I mentioned just now, and also to all the holders of supreme conduct. So holders of supreme conduct refers to those hearers, solitary realizers, and bodhisattvas. So to all abbots and masters who bestow vows, such as bodhisattva vows, and to all the holders of supreme conduct, such as hearers and solitary realizers, to all of them I pay homage. So before we confess our negativities by way of four opponent powers, then we have gone through the first two preliminaries. So that there are three preliminaries. The first one is offerings that we have already covered. And today we have also covered the paying homage or prostration. And the third one is going for refuge or taking refuge. So which I'm going to talk about now. So about going for refuge. So going for refuge, so there are two causes for going for refuge. One is fear, and the second one is belief. So fear of samsaric suffering and the sufferings of three lower realms, and belief. So belief, the three jewels have the abilities to save oneself from those suffering. So these are the two causes for going for refuge. The first one is fear, and the second one is belief. So believing the beliefs that three jewels have the abilities to save oneself. So and talking about refuge, going for refuge, then again, there are two types of refuge. One is causal refuge, and the second one is resultant refuge. So regarding causal refuge, so causal refuge are those three jewels that has already been accomplished. So three jewels that have already been accomplished refers to those three jewels. For example, Buddha Shakyamuni. So three jewels that have already been accomplished, like for example, Buddha Shakyamuni, in whose continuum the three jewels are present. Or another example can be one's own root guru. So Bodha Shakyamuni or one's own real guru are the causal refuge because they are the three jewels that have already been accomplished, meaning in whose continuum the three jewels are present. So as an ordinary being, like for oneself, as an ordinary beings, so we have not accomplished three jewels in one's continuum, right? Therefore, oneself as an ordinary being is not a causal refuge.
간 리뷰 자료스나 라디라 토바시 상제다 추구진 지발을 때는 좀 봤어요. 그래서 디자는 리뷰 자료는 스타트에서 와. 지 자료는 아주 두스 그거 발표를 때는 가서 좀 들어와. 무슨 두스 그래서 와서 지발을 도에 체크는 중에 간다. 자신 좀 들어와. 자신 좀 받이. 이렇게. 다 리뷰 자료에서 라디라 토바시 상제다 추구진 줄라 지발을 때는 좀 봤어요. anda randila jumba che junji rani sanji sanji ji kumba de anda tenda she wa ye rani sanji ji kumba de sanji bada timo mai ji 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 sanji de tenda do de rangi rani sanji kanga rani timo mai ji ji sanji ji yo anda wa sanji yo rangi timo mai da sanji kumba de ro ro wa de rama anda de randila kuba she sanji rangi toja 도자기산. 다른 도자기 산지다 산지 본조선 집발을 더 있겠는지 봐. 당가서 인도 집발을 더 있게 대한 진사에 가르쳐 니샤군도와 라지를 본조선 무슨이 뭐가 무슨 본조선라 집발 더 있겠는지 야 가서 도나 지다. 랑이 지나 토바시 산지다 출군조 집발을 더 있게 토바시 산지다 집발을 더 토바시 지다 대한 가슴 좀 받지 마지 니 와. 니는 다 담보도 간다. 진짜 니 받은 게 비자스. 대장.
And also the causal refuge are those already accomplished three jewels, and we hold these already accomplished three jewels as the basis for liberating oneself from fear, or to free oneself from fear. And that is causal refuge. And the second one is resultant refuge. So resultant refuge are those resultant refuge are Buddha and Dharma jewels to be accomplished or to be attained in one's continuum. So resultant refuge refers to Buddha and Dharma jewels to be accomplished in one's continuum or to be attained in one's continuum. And you hold this Dharma and Buddha and Dharma jewel to be attained in one's continuum as the basis to free oneself from fear, as a basis of the freedom from fear, as the basis of freedom from fear. So there are two types of refuge here. One is causal refuge and resultant refuge. So resultant refuge also refers to the state of enlightenment, the ultimate state of enlightenment. The uncommon ultimate state of enlightenment to be attained by oneself or to be attained by each individual. So this uncommon ultimate state of enlightenment to be attained by individual and the Dharma jewel the resultant refuge, and hold these as the basis of freedom from fear. So there are two types of refuge here. One is causal refuge, another one is resultant refuge. Causal refuge refers to those three jewels that have already been accomplished, and you hold these three jewels as the basis freedom from fear. And the second one is resultant refuge. So resultant refuge refers to Buddha and Dharma jewels to be attained in one's continuum, and you hold these jewels as the basis of freedom from fear.
工作说的，等等都是就是哇，那工作说小问题，当我说这是个什么原则？当我说哪里有英国人啊，是我说实话，也得这个是700的天然的是，这个毛毛是，这是对甚至点说，这是对这个是哪里有学的话，
有啲ship
他们原先学的对吧？天然
天
的这个毛毛牺牲多啊，也是，但是我是当不这是对一定的。
显度面貌話曬地卡選得卡的
显度毛毛是，当我是工作上的些这什么这个事
哦對
是吧？么的话，
那多了
么就说啥？那我这有这些吧，什么，就是你的生意的途径的经验的什么不行啊？那些忙个就是忙不多啊。700像我是700的，那工作是能平时700上级工作、区工作、本地工作的收入是700是吧？700去。那天了嘛，的工作是讲两的天了，是吧？什么讲两的天了，是吧？那等于是上去了，这等在这里。那现在忙是呢，工作是那些叫什么什么的。对吧？我那都做的呗，我是这是我那都是写我的，我这是我有的写，就是那个意思，这是有的不对了，有的不对了，这个这是我的话，这是我的人生的话，你继续找，别人就给你吧，那么工作是要把一切，那一切的可能，工作是哦，就你看了嘛，讲到对吧？听的，是吧？我在讲到是，我是那就都是巧，这个。而且我们就可以把它讲到是这个讲到哪里了的，是吧？那个差别嘛，你都是工作的差，你的考验的差别是吧？你讲到是那个嘛，对了，那我说你去肯定是那个是吧？你去肯定，你把这个是吧？那好的这样就等于是吧？那个这样，讲到是呢，国外的是会多人，那当然这几个人麻烦啥？你必须切换电脑嘛是吧？在这生活上，你不可是吧？
So regarding this causal refuge and resultant refuge, we will revisit these two again. We will revisit these two, causal refuge and resultant refuge. So so we must understand the causes for going for refuge. The causes for going for refuge, as I mentioned just now, the two causes are fear and belief. So fear of samsaric suffering and suffering of lower realms, and belief that three jewels have the abilities to save oneself. And these are the two causes for going for refuge. So then next is one must identify the objects to which we take refuge. So the objects of refuge refers to the three jewels, and one must go for refuge, understanding the qualities of these three jewels, such as the qualities of Buddha jewel. So we must understand the quality of body, speech, and mind of Buddha, and then we understand the distinction between these three jewels, and we also then we accept or assert these three jewels as the objects of refuge, and having accepted three jewels as the object of refuge, we do not assert others as the refuge. We do not take refuge in others. So one must go for refuge, knowing this. These are the modes of going for refuge. So these modes of going for refuge has these four points: understanding the qualities, understanding the distinction, assertions or acceptance, and do not assert others. So these are the modes of going for refuge. And regarding these, we have already covered in Middle Lang Lam Rim. And and usually when the words they're taking refuge or going for refuge, basically it means acceptance or it means assertions. So, and some people might think that doing prostration towards someone means taking refuge in person. So this is not correct. So doing prostration to someone, it only means that you are physically showing a respectful gesture towards the person.
那这个说嘛，在当中呢是实际的做的是吧？我们那些去的话，上对吧？
Yeah, so it does not necessarily doing prostration does not necessarily mean that it is taking refuge.
有们去的上帝呢，叫做觉得第三道也 往必须叫做提升，如何进步啊？他这里的对嘛，都在提步啊。
So next verse is verse 26. Until the essence of enlightenment, I go for refuge to the Buddhas. Likewise, I go for refuge to the Dharma and to the assembly of Bodhisattvas.
到这个继续的嘛，就出嘛修的，但这个嘛，我嘛了的，那个就能够去把是，我的修不多，他讲到干的引进的都是听不清的确实，他的个就了解不多啊，是吧？干的呢，引进的都是都听不清的工作是，工作是，那让的人用这些工作是，也没必要的些呢，但我是没啥有的得的，没啥有的得你晓得多啊，没啥有的你。他讲的，别的人都是对吧？就是工作生活的，当然是跟那些个我的，是吧？跟那些个我的，是吧？当然，就能用这些工作生活，然后就能当我们用这个工作生活了，就觉得，是吧？我们用这些工作生活，也有的些呢，你讲的你讲说对了，讲说对了，也有的些个啊，也有的就价值观，价值观对了，也有的就不价值观，也是对了，哦。当然是这时候是有搞这些工作是，引进了都是对吧？这个工作是开始，让你了用这些工作说，那你必须得写的，那对待的那种的，那想就进一步，特别想就去恐怕的特别把到，那加上去你加上你是那个都晓得的，是吧？加上是有你的生活，引进了都是的对吧？这个工作说，让你了用这个。就是说，人民币有的些呢，对待的说的，那那个强调，马上就把它加上这个意思，是吧？加上这个意思，对，这个都是。
So the meaning of this verse 26, until the essence of enlightenment, I go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So it means that taking as objects of observations. So there are two objects of observation. So taking as objects of observation the Mahayana three jewels that have already been complete in others continua. So it relates to the causal refuge and the resultant refuge that I mentioned just now. So taking the Mahayana three jewels that have already been accomplished in others continua and the three jewels to be arisen in one's continuum. So taking these two as the objects of observation. So the first one is Mahayana three jewels, the Mahayana three jewels that have already been accomplished in others continua. And the second object of observation is three jewels to be arisen in one's continuum. Taking these two as the objects of observation, from now on until I reach the essence of enlightenment or until the essence of enlightenment, I go for refuge.
对了，可能，我看到了说，上去了叫成去，去了叫成去，努力了叫成去，我是放到看到的，哇，这是多少电视的上去不就去了叫成努力了叫成去，我是你看到多少的送入啊，这是不是上去工作送？对你工作送的，对你中心工作送了，加上这个记得，两个记了，忙把的两个记了，用这个工作送，我对你工作送给了你呢，给了你呢，那个我不晓得，我是讲究说的，按照。哪里想哪里情况是吧？帮把态度的成就，都把态度的成就，我对码头去爬到，是吧？对码头去爬到，这个的，加上这个语嘛，这个加上这个意思啊，加上如果是吧，那就不是个话。
So the second object of observations are the three jewels that will be a reason in one's continuum. Sorry, the three jewels that will be a reason in one's continuum. So these two objects of observation, the three jewels, Mahayana three jewels that have already been accomplished in other continua, and the three jewels that will be arisen in one's continuum. So these three jewels, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha jewel. So until the essence of enlightenment, from now on, until I reach the essence of enlightenment. So the essence of enlightenment. So the meaning enlightenment, this I have explained it many times when we are in the when we study in the Lang Lam Rim, so stages of the path to enlightenment. So the enlightenment refers to ultimate abandonment and ultimate realization. So until I achieve these two, the ultimate abandonment and ultimate realization, I take refuge in three jewels.
我当我就教授逻辑的单独的看的，在等待都是这样的，今年我这里国家他们这种看的，基本过来，你过来过来你做你干嘛的话，另外的你咋接吧？另外的你咋的？那对另外的人你咋接的？你是那是给不成是很大的，你或者是另外你做的话，那结果的话。但其他情况，但其他的主要跟你把的受到都是结不结的，没得就是困难了嘛，但是也是进来了，是吧？一个是过了嘛，就是困难，因为你把的工作是有的，那工作上要把一起，那一起呢，那当然一起呢，当然一起的过来的，当然那不叫啥吧，对，给了呗，马上就把它这个是一是看人，看人的看这个是。另一个就是调动做，还是干什么？还是不能不去做啊？不能不调动做，还是那个我在这。
So the modes of taking refuge is one must have the two causes for going for refuge. The two causes, as I mentioned just now, one is fear and second one is belief. So fear of samsaric suffering and fear of suffering of three lower realms. So so having fear of these sufferings, then you ask then ask oneself who has the ability to save oneself from this suffering, protect oneself from these sufferings. Then we come to understand that only three jewels have the abilities to save us from these sufferings. Then we develop faith in the three jewels. Then we entrust ourselves to the three jewels and accept or assert the three jewels as a refuge. So that is what it means by taking refuge. And that is the modes of going for refuge.
那这说对上级关系、区关系、跟你关系，说了嘛，加深点去了吧？说了点是吧？那说加深都是的，那说加深都是写的，那上级关系呢，那是一般没给让点把过，上级关系呢嘛是一般没给让点把光，点把过，
一般没给，
一般没给让点把过，点把光，点把过，哇，让点把光，点把过，也有的是呢，那个。加深的身体加深的地球啊，上级工作呢，那身体基本没人点把光，点把光，是吧？这点把光，这点把光一个，这嘛是加深的，上级工作，是吧？那全国就是说的，全国就基本没人，我也是，干我，全国就的，全国就的，那你基本没人，我上干我，人就完蛋。我去工作的，基本那个让我上讲我是，让我是讲的基本那个让我，是吧？就跟那个去工作那个基本那个让我差的，让我是讲我对得起，我是跟这是多少钱，是吧？这是多少钱？问题工作说的我说，基本没被让出去多少，是吧？问题工作基本没被让出去多少。对不对？多，是吧？让这个多少，对不对？多，我真的现在是讲，没得工作的，是吧？如果没比让这个多少，对不对？多，我那电视说了表示多少，是的，没说的，表示多少。
And the modes of going for refuge individually. So the modes of going for refuge individually means that having identified Buddha dual as the teacher of the fearless path or the teacher of refuge. So having identified the Buddha dual as the teacher of the fearless path or the teacher of refuge, one then go for refuge. So having identified Buddha Jewel as the teacher of fearless path, or the teacher of refuge, one go for refuge. So this is the modes of going for refuge, individual modes of going for refuge in relation to Buddha Jewel, and the individual modes of going for refuge in relation to Dharma Jewel is having identified Dharma Jewel as the actual fearless path or the actual refuge. one goes for refuge. I repeat, having identified the Dharma Jewel as the actual fearless path or the actual refuge, one goes for refuge. So this is the individual modes of going for refuge in relation to Dharma Jewel. And the third one, individual modes of going for refuge in relation to Sangha Jewel is having identified Sangha Jewel, Sangha Jewel as the companion for accomplishing the fearless path or the companion for accomplishing refuge, one goes for refuge. I repeat the third one. Having identified Sangha Jewel as the companion for accomplishing the fearless path or the companion for accomplishing refuge, one goes for refuge. So these are this is the modes of individual modes of going for refuge in relation to three jewels.
我觉得，他们说叫罗刹的手术不是的，就是我说啊，他们说叫神助，讲着叫是去我是楼多，他们说叫是我在看到啊，一般的中国人就不能叫是我看见的，叫是我，因为人一般的就不能叫是我说，
中意你，
因为人一般的，他让你看到因为人一般的就不能叫是我说，叫是我，现在的确。讲着是，当然是，我们知道可能叫是都是去啥的话，他讲着是个的话，叫是多，叫是去是多啊，他叫是话的，你知道，中间的，过来就，一般的中间的就给他叫是，中间的一般的就给他叫是，他们的多啊。
And we always say refuge or I go for refuge. So refuge in Tibetan is yap draw. There are two words here, yap and draw. So draw is go, then yap is refuge or protection. So yap chiwo is the same. I go for refuge. So the word explanations of yap in English is refuge means that saving oneself, saving from protect from suffering and fear, protecting from suffering and fear, or saving from suffering and fear, and that is what it means. That is the word explanation for the word yap or refuge.
我的这时候的就是话，按基本的等下来就跟那这说呢，叫很多我是叫声去是，我的叫声多，我的话叫声多，叫声多的叫声去是等到基本的话，那叫声多时候呢，反正都是呢，就说给他，也说给等下基本的等下来，就比要得，他好了这点吧，是吧？那你看叫声多有呢，你讲着说给，这点吧我就说，我的第一讲着说给，讲着说给这点吧我，第一你干一道，是说干的蛮大哇，这一个送完呢，去往肉啊是的，真的的，干一个送完的，然后给介绍着说给，这点吧我让你来这点吧我就说，让你介绍着说给有点吧我就说，第一干的蛮大哇，这一个送完呢。
加寫的佢哋加，
啲加嚟mand到啊，上期是加嚟mand到，然後那麼加嚟mand到啊，加起都是的話，這個都是的話，不搞是搞這個話，搞這個都是，那麼這點不會加嚟mand到啊，這送完呢，去到是的我看到，
出新度，
我自己的送，這個
送啊，
送福啊，这个送呢，叫很多，但是你跟那种的话，叫很多，但是确实，对那个，
Yeah. So this yep, yum, yep. So it's a refuge or going for refuge or take refuge. So and in Tibetan itself, it has the meaning of safe, protect, um, save, protect, and also rescue. Yeah, it has such meaning. So the word explanation for the word yap is since it saves one from suffering and fear, therefore it is called protect, save, rescue, or in general is called refuge. Then the object to which we go for refuge, such as the teacher of refuge. So teacher of uh, yeah, uh, yeah, one properly got the words of the teacher of the refuge without transgressing their words, without transgressing the words or his words, then that is the meaning of going for refuge or taking refuge. So I repeat, the meaning of going for refuge, or another common translation for this is taking refuge, is the object to which we take refuge, such as the teacher of refuge, to uh, properly guard his words without transgressing it, is what it means by taking refuge.
我的别人说，那刚才我说，你讲的你这个讲多些，啊，那个是电视多少你的多啊，你的多电视多少多啊，电视多是你的我，那你个可能我说你是电视多少你多啊，那跟你讲我们是讲到这些是吧？啊，看到让这个是吧？天气了都心情，我这个就是了，几个的等我来做一点的，你讲过的了，你讲到是吧？你这个都心情，你这都心情，都是了。이거를 등안에 들어있지. 채도 안다. 그래서 이거 계속 그래 주로.
그 관련이 제도.
그래서 이거 이거 들어있지. 그래 채도. 어떻게 계속 좀 주로. 계속 계속 좋아하게 들어있잖아. 계속 뭐 들어있잖아. 좋아. 안다. 이제는 주식이 대박 경기 다 초소하러. 대박 지금 초소가 안다니 지바도 등안에 들어있. 얘도 진비 진지를 되게 잘로들라. 잘로들라. 이렇게 뭐 그럼 언제라 문제지 초소나 지바도 등안에 들어있는 진바라. 그러니까 대단히 맞아서 너랑 비바로 와.
남자가 좀
문제 초소로 와. 초소나. 등안에 들어있는 진바. 집이 잘로돼. 집이 잘로. 와. 집이 잘로서 가르치나. 그러니까 중지 초소나 초소나 지바도 등안에 들어있. 얘도 진바. 집이 잘로되라. 집이 잘로시. 나 신지를 두신지 제가 초소나 지바도 등안에 들어있. 얘도 집이 잘로되라. 집이 잘로시. 나 되니 제가 잡았다. 집이 잘로다. 집이 잘로시.
就是说做那些鸡巴鸡干这嘛。
我这时候的基本的话，这是我靠的，我的你是多了，这别的你说，或者是这样，民俗上的，如此比讲的，是比较起来，一个经济的运动的教授，如此的教授这个，一个经济的教授级，你人对吧？我听你的，现在基本的，这教授的，上级规则呢，最规则呢，你起码给他基本的话，基本。
So we talk about three jewels. The three jewels are exactly are the same: Buddha jewel, Dharma jewel, and Sangha jewel. So, and there are two objects of observation. So, as mentioned, so the two objects of observations refers to causal refuge and resultant refuge. So we have to identify what causal refuge is and also resultant refuge is. So the first one, causal refuge, refers to the already accomplished three jewels, and hold the already accomplished three jewels as the basis of freedom from fear. So that is the first one, causal refuge, holding the already accomplished three jewels as the basis of freedom from fear. And that is causal refuge. And the second one is resultant refuge. So resultant refuge means holding the holding the three jewels that will be attained in one's continuum as the basis of freedom from fear is the resultant refuge. So holding the three jewels to be that will be attained in one's continuum as the basis of freedom from fear. So this is the second. This is the resultant refuge. So taking these two as the objects of observation. So these two resultant social refuge and resultant refuge. Then as the observation, as the object of observation, one go for refuge.
맞습니다. 다른 쪽에 이샤게 운도 속에서 이거 차원들과 그래서 결과다 차원도 연도 속에 차원지 다른서 잡아보는 리거다. 아니 뭐 도시 차이고는 디바 잡아 디리고와 아니 도시 차이고 디바 잡아들어와 디바 다시 디마 차원이나 되면서 유니바 차고와 유니바 디가 차원 차원이나 또 디가 도시 차이고 디바 잡아라
So we have covered three preliminaries of confessing of negativities. So the three preliminaries, as mentioned just now, offerings, offerings, paying homage, and going for refuge or taking refuge. So these are the three preliminaries of confessions of negativities. So then next one is confessing negativities by means of complete four opponent powers. So the next outline is confessing negativities by means of complete four opponent powers. So the rest of the second chapter is about four opponent powers. So if we cover this number four, the fourth outline, confessing negativities by means of complete four opponent powers, then we will finish the second chapter. So in relation to this outline, confessing the negativities by means of complete four powers, first we talk about the general presentation. The general presentation under this outline means before talking about four opponent powers, what are the advices? So general presentation refers to general advices before talking about the four opponent powers. So the first advice is strive for not being tainted by misdeeds from the very beginning. Strive for not being tainted by misdeeds from the very beginning. So strive for not being tainted by misdeeds from the very beginning means that those misdeeds of body, speech, and mind, to strive not to be tainted, even a subtle one, by this. Strive not to be tainted by the body, misdeeds, speech, the misdeeds of speech, and the misdeeds of mind, not even a subtle one. So means that strive not to be tainted. Strive for not being tainted by even a subtle misdeeds from the very beginning.
当然说的不然是下头起来的，你们多系统的做，你们多系统的地方下头就是也是个不是东岸是我的话，东岸是我的，真的说这个学我的，我这都我这个意识界，去学的，东岸是我的那个是细节性的，细节学到的我知道，这个我是懂吧，这个重点是吧？那接着需求是吧？知道我就是下头去，我是你们长期去出去，是不是很最近呢？如果是小个结果呢，要的嘛，要不要白的嘛，要配的时候是吧？这个呢，小公司呢，对方面当然嘛，如果你出去有的，如果你为了没出去的呢，怕谁啊？谁来我的时候是吧？为了没出去嘛，呢，知道吧？没出去是吧？怕谁的谁来我的事，那个是，那钱不交易呢？啊，你知道吧？你比如说没学过呢，你我这玩意，这我的那个干嘛也是，你那也是不是？吧？你就是全部全球流的，你那个嘛大个话，你是讲个对不对？真的，当初也是，你那个当也是，别的小动物真的也可以，小小也可以。
So it's very important to strive for not being tainted by misdeeds, not even a subtle one from the from the very beginning. From the very beginning. So even sometimes, despite your effort, due to non-conscientiousness, uh, many afflictions and so forth, due to such reasons, then misdeeds were to arise. So if misdeeds were to arise because of this reason, then one should not leave it indifferently. So means that one shouldn't just leave it aside without confessing them or without purifying them. So one must uh, immediately purify such negativities. So, and one must purify those negativities as taught by Buddha Shakyamuni. So, in relation to negativity, the way to confess or purify those negativities are through or by means of four opponent powers, mainly by means of four opponent powers. And in relation to transgression, so transgressions refers to those uh, transgressions against vows, transgressions in relation to vow, or one was to go against the vows one has taken, then one has to. There are methods to restore those vows as taught by Buddha Shakyamuni. So, in relation to vows, then this I will talk about it later. So there are upper and lower vows. So uh, regardless is negativities or transgressions. So if one notice that one has committed such negativities or one has transgressed the vows that one has taken, one should immediately confess those negativities. So if you leave it unpurified or leave it as it is, then it will increase or it will multiply. So the example to illustrate this is if there is a small fire in the forest, a small wood fire. So if you quickly put it off, then it's very easy. So however, if you let it become a very big bushfire bushfire or forest fire, then it becomes very difficult to put it off. So similarly, so uh, when you know that negativities has been committed or transgressions has happened or transgression has done, then one should quickly confess those negativities.
当然了，这个嘛，这个必须讲说，东岸时期学上的，比国时期结巴了，学上的，送的也是我，东岸时期结巴的，比国时期结的。他讲的东岸的需求的讲的，是吧？他讲的比我说稍稍的懂吧，详细懂吧？按行懂吧？就是应该，是应该明白的问题。那下东结我的是吧？他讲的稍稍的懂吧？应该懂吧？只能该懂啊，只下去结的。他讲的做，他讲的你也让不了做了是吧？给他了做你，他讲的稍稍提起来了，做这个你是吧？你让不了做了是吧？是吧？我就是了做你，也讲的。下去去细节去，是吧？当然，这就让容易那样没些过，所以说细节一个是吧？ 这种可能的意思细节可能有的。但我是跟我细节了，多年上说的没的细节去。他讲就是没懂把那个你讲白呢，他多上级的讲就是不能细节去，是吧？他我去找董老师吧，就是我去懂把这个，就是讲白呢，他多懂的决定也让决定了，是了，那个细节去。以前是吧？我跟你讲这个，那就到哪情况是用着，然后就是被找到什么呢？人家那个不是给懂吧？人家让人家找到什么？人家让穷了，就是找到什么呢？详细都找到什么人家让穷，还有那个，这个是没听过，是，你忘记了？我是哪里东西啊？
你穷了，你得养家的练过的话，你弹性运动吧。
我想，
大动穷了。
这个人强制运动吧，那强制运动吧，人家也是吧？我说这一代，我就在那人家人要嘛是吧？那是是，我是在等就买人那个人家，我喜欢他，有人把他说，这体会是吧？然后有人忘记了，人家忘记，我理解。
So regarding the method for restoring expressions, so there are different vows: individual liberation vows, Bodhisattva vows, practice vows. So if one were to transgress any of these vows, then one must confess such negativity. One must confess individually. So in relation to individual liberation vows, mainly one observe solitary, mainly one observe hearers, arhat, and so forth, and confess. The one confess mainly mainly one confess mainly observing hearers, arhat, and so forth. So if is a monk's vows, for example, or ordination vows, then one must attain the sojong ceremony. So and then in relation to Bodhisattva vows, so Bodhisattva vows, one mainly observe Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, confess such transgression. And in relation to tantric vow, mainly one observe uh, idam. Idam is meditational deity, and Dharma protector, and confess such negativities. So this is how one confess transgression in relation to individual vows. So the in relation to individual liberation vows, one observe mainly hearers, arhats, and so forth. Confess. If it is ordination, monk's vows, for example, ordination vow, then one attends sojong ceremony. Then in relation to Bodhisattva vows, mainly one observe Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and confess. In relation to Tantric vows, mainly one observe meditational deity or Yidam and Dharma protector and confess. So in relation to these vows, like for example, Bodhisattva vows, so uh, if one were to cause a root downfall of Bodhisattva vows to happen, then one can take Bodhisattva vows again. So taking Bodhisattva vows again is the method for restoring Bodhisattva vows. So this is common as well. So and if it is ordination vow, so ordinary if defeat, so defeat can be like a major transgression. So if a defeat happened to an ordination vow, then there is no way that one can take the vow again. So there is no way to take the vows again. And in relation to tantric vows, so if a root downfall were to happen, then the methods for restoring tantric vows is self-initiation, or one can take the initiation again. So these are the methods for restoring vows individually or respectively.
我讲的你把洗脚了，我说你把东西可能的，或者比较我也是我洗脚我也懂是吧？把你把东西的我就嘛生活的给你给很多嘞，我讲的上去去给很多嘞，讲什么地铁是吧？在去手机上吧，我说什么去这个地方，这个上班时间没很多的，我讲的点的地铁是吧？去的很多嘞，那你不肯定就上去到位呢，你不多去多嘞，对吧？加到去位呢，他都不就是是吧？
Then the method for purifying negativities is through the four opponent powers. Four opponent powers, as taught in the sutra, sutra of teaching four features or four qualities or four features. So sutra teaching four qualities or four features or four factors. So it basically talks about these four opponent powers. So whatever negativities one has done, no matter how heavy it is, it can be purified by four opponent powers.
洗的可能这内部多洗下头这些，毛不得养生型呢，我可能就是内部第二的，那number 是几多，我第就是内部拉的多，第就是定的多，第就是内部工作的多，我是当然是哪里那这我们这里呢，有大种就是那些多，有嘛这些说，我知道我是我现在是这些来了，第是来了。 number 是几位？你就是明白了不对，你就是对不多，你就是那么对的。那我是哪就是等我的学者的，我这个给我嘛，写的我领导我的写的，是吧？给东我写什么？领导我写的，但是我举了是两个给你上去当的，我就是给我呢，两个写了，大我对两个解释，结果都是嘛，人家提前了，大很多啊。
So regarding these four opponent powers, and we have talked about it many times already. So however, talking about four opponent powers again, it will not become a fault of repetition or redundancy because it's very important to understand and also to keep in our mind. So regarding these four open powers, the order of four opponent powers are listed differently in different texts. So, however, there is an order of four opponent powers. It's easier for us to understand by way of linking. There is a stages for practice. So the stages for practice means that it's easier to apply it in our apply it in our mind. So there is a connections from the previous and with the later opponent powers. So the stages that is easier to apply in our mind in relation when we practice four opponent powers. Order is first power of regret, and the second one is power of refrain. That one is power of reliance. And the last one is power of remedy. The power of regret, power of refrain, power of reliance, and power of remedy.
我这都是嘛个，这等到我干嘛修不这我跟那么多修的，我发觉呢，那么心里面多是吧？别把这个什么当我的业务，是吧？那么心里面多的。而现在这个地震法律是蛮多那个是吧？法律是蛮多那个。因为他等到我继续了那些话说，基本上把上什么说法就可信，两年阶段都是差不多，就是两年阶段的项目，那么心里面多，但那么心里面多，到来说。 当然，我这生活状态我并不需要的，对不对？项目不是说的，你把财经忙忙，去学的，那你那个事情都是说你这个接的话，是吧？那当然的也的话，你把财经我学的就是，那你你就把钱，所以你就把留下去，是吧？你就把接，那等你就把接的跟钱不是那钱嘛？可是呢，你这个接完呢，把两偏重，偏忙着买钱，偏重钱，那偏要干，你把偏重干。 票的， Pedro can give a children, Pedro Carver, never much about this, was never children, and there was a mark, yes, but that never torture. He jumped at the tumble, but the people just got in the basin, you would have to live that, and even Jacob said, that's what you say, that was before.
So regarding this order, it is easier to apply it in our mind when we practice these four quantum powers. The order is power of first start with power of regret, right? So power of regret is most probably is the first. So, most probably this will be the first one listed in most of the text. So most of the text they commonly list this power of regret as the first opponent powers. So, and the second, third, and fourth, then they are according to different texts, and they list they're list them differently. So, and these orders it is easier to apply in one's mind when we practice opponent powers, and this is the way of practicing those inconceivable holy being, inconceivable holy beings. So this is how they practice for opponent powers, the order of practicing for opponent powers. So the first one is power of regret. So power of regret is very easy to understand why it is listed as the first one. So because when one committed negativities, so when one committed negativities, then one regret it. So one regret for having committed negativities, and it's very important to regret the negativities one has done is because it will stop the negativities from multiplying or increasing. So the importance of regretting for having done such negativities is it will stop such negativities from multiplying or from increasing. So if one doesn't regret the negativities one has done, and if one rather instead, if one were to rejoice in that negativities, it will mix it will cause the negativities to multiply.
So there are number six of the Tamutata neighborhood, what you say, some on the pay. Also, when Jabba shoot up, with it, and Jabba shoot up with you, or that she not the people in it, because I'm future to so some of them remember, but knowledge is what I'm future. And the two is not. Or that, my ship in Jabba, but Jabba shoot up with it. I'm going to Jim with the stars of the hot water. Hot water, I'm going to be was a demon who's a Jabba war. I have what I'm going 나랑 소라보다 이 디바 상수도 만나다 우리 그 그래서 대 네발라도 도세 네발 때 네발 네발라도 도 다데 나는 게 봐도 무슨 되고 돼 아마만 저거 슈 잡고 저기 니 모두 사태 저시 이게 잡고 레오니 어 땅이 신생이 나랑 소라보다 당한 뭐만 나기 디바 자원 메디사 수 줄에 당자 걔 감사해 와 간다 네발라도 도서 걔 그냥 들어와 인생이 디바 지금 뭐니 그게 다자 저기 안 싸티고 야부 간시 니가 간이 하고서나 아 신체 와서 이빨을 주고 초치 이제 공마 넘버 3가 과 제자들이야 그거 그렇죠 근데 네팔라도 또 대가서 가서 다자 지금 신체 니가 싸야 초치 그게 들려고 와 신체기 니가 뭐지서 다자 들려고 와 대패 이 양게 좀 거든 뒤야고 싶어 나는 제대로
So having generated a strong regret, so understanding that it is inappropriate to commit such negativities, then it will link to the second one. So the second one is, so when you know that it is inappropriate, it is not okay to commit such negativities, when this regret is so strong that then it will link to the second one, which is, I will not do it again. So because you understand how inappropriate it is to commit such negativities, then you will link to the second one is, I will not do it again, even at the cost of my life. So basically, here is a commitment or promise not to create such negativities again. So power of, and this is power of refrain. So power of refrain basically it is a commitment, or it is an acceptance of promise that I will not create such negativities again in the future. So the power of refrain is very important because it stops it stops oneself from committing negativities in the future. So it is very important. This power of refrain is very important because it stops oneself from creating negativities in the future.
对，你懂了。当然是到了年不老这个多，当然提到了牛是吧？年不老这个我是大家的教的，大家教的我是星期第八人觉得出去了，星期第八觉得是吧？那星期第八我们的我是第八偏出去，我们什么都年不老这个都的星期第八了，就把过去过去，对吧？那星期第八的教，当然我们就把这星期第八的就我们那当然，是吧？那第八啥长久有了哇？那这个他没个谁啊？他是的，他是送吧的。那他去送吧，可是呢，那你去我们人把它当时就第八么的，你申请这个上去去把这第一期的所有的工作东西，申请了都说，不是说啊，是搞么？但是可能，哇，说啊，这个我得讲的是一个，讲的是一个呢，那我也蛮对，我说那第八什么？我就是讲的是一个的。不怎么难嘛，你不处理，当然，是吧？这样的事情就是一般的嘛，一般没有嘛，能没有办法说的是很难，是吧？跟你说是这不到的，我就说了，给申请这个上级恐怕的第一阶段，那么就是你听到说不是你说的或者讲了钱，讲的事情钱，我就觉得，那在一个市场就怎么，你慢慢确实怎么可能？
So having first generated strong regret, understanding how inappropriate to create such negativities or commit such negativities, then it links to the second one is I will not create or commit such negativities again in the future, even at the cost of my life. So you promise yourself not to commit such negativities again in the future. So and having done so, then it links to the third one is the power of reliance. So power of reliance means that as you promise not to create such negativities in the future, right? So then the next thing to do is to weaken or to decrease those negativities, to weaken those negativities, or to degenerate those negativities, to weaken those negativities or decrease those negativities. And in relation to this is the power of reliance. So the power of reliance is important because it weakens or it decreases the power of those negativities. And in relation to power of reliance is for the sake of all sentient beings, I want to achieve the state of enlightenment. For these, for these three jewels, please bless me. So you seek blessing from the three jewels. So for the sake of all sentient beings, I want to achieve the state of enlightenment. For these three jewels, please bless me. So basically here it talks about refuge and bodhicitta. So refuge is has the three jewels, please bless me. And then bodhicitta is for the sake of all sentient beings, I want to achieve the state of enlightenment. So power of reliance is to take refuge and generate bodhicitta in order to weaken those negativities.
但他们的人啊，你不跟着这个多是，他那个认为，他那个你不跟着这个多的，你不早晚的话，他把他弄进这个农忙鬼啊，这个你不跟着这个多的说的没得说啊。
但早晚你他吧咯？
我你把早晚的，他们
结婚有
早晚这个农忙鬼的，这个包规，这个大大他妈的，对，不是尽量的这个不是留的，他大大是上当的过去是吧？
And the last one is power of remedy. So power of remedy is important because it utterly purifies those negativities. It completely purifies those negativities. Means that through the power of reliance, and one will not. completely purify those negativities so that one there is no need for one to experience those ripening results. So if you think in this way, think in this order first, the power of regret, power of refrain, power of reliance, and power of remedy. So this order is very easy to apply when we practice four opponent powers.
That's what we see. I'm also the temperature. That's what the killing. What we kill. That jail also. Never could not give it to it. Chance the Jishing in jail. It's not a Jishing to us. Never could not give it to that. So, we are going to work at Chimpala. That thing is teaching to what the career is. Now, to see what is doing. We make him as well. That they like some conscious well.
Sorry, we'll stop here, and there's not much time for question and answer. I forgot to allocate time for question and answer. So, next class, we're going to talk about the power of antidote, and as in maybe in the class, then I will ask, what are the 6 main antidotes? In relation to this power of antidotes, there are 6 main ways, or 6 main ways, or 6 main antidotes. And then what are they? So these I have covered, I've mentioned it before. So think about it before coming to the next class. We conclude with dedication. We dedicate these roots of virtue to the flourishing of Buddha Dharma and to all sentient beings. And we also dedicate these roots of virtue to all upholders of Buddha's teaching, mainly His Holiness the Dalai Lama. May all their may they live long, and may they live long, have excellent health, and may all their holy wishes and enlightened activities spread in all 10 directions and accomplish instantaneously. We also dedicate these roots of virtue to our beloved teacher, Kapajit Lama Sapo Rinpoche. May the unmistaken reincarnations of Rinpoche be swiftly returned and continue to return the real Dharma for the sake of teachings and sentient beings, so that we will have the opportunity to receive the profound teachings from Rinpoche again. We also dedicate these roots of virtue to the world peace and happiness. May wars, conflicts, disaster, natural disaster, pandemic diseases be pacified immediately. We also dedicate these roots of virtue, especially to those sentient beings who pass away because of these conditions. May all their negativities accumulated since beginningless time be pacified immediately, and may they achieve the state of enlightenment as quickly as possible.
Sabi dewa de tendang jowa tenla kambe dang cheba je chen lo san kaba ye tenbe nimbo rido se che sho chanchu sen chong rinpo che ma che pa na ji gu ji cheba nyamba me pa ya punye kondo pe wa shong jambe kame chi da che ma na kuno sambo di yang di jing de da chi zo da lo ji dewa de da dang che ra to ngo to ni da rinpo che ma che pa na ji gu ji cheba nyamba me sa ya punye kondo pe wa shong rinpo da喜欢结伴能地区结伴娘帮发扬公业光头变化说，你接送都就为了季节生的抗击的对于前两天毛病进行做了是吧？那种应该听说说，看那边的话对吧？刚才因为上边有个领主面并且写作了，多那种这些听说说，大概给八点三点上中路上叫网友谁去八点上在西头干用死的，你那边把这边给点作用所说的就点的过去，水到这边直接对我那样就是是的那个现在。姐姐老妈说完的，没得嘛的，就没过去过家园的大妈就住啊，一天老几头这块子是，我不是说我现在一天把人家去做叫这些那的，就是那就住点老婆的，都没得没样都啥这种，给啥这些别多有些叔叔，我看着说还行吧，你跟他给我搞的，现在是我的这个都有小朋友身体保护的就可以。